Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today we're going to be talking about the summer patch which just came out for Battlefield 4, which includes a free night version of Savad 311, also known as Graveyard Shift. Now the weird thing about this patch is that in order to get the Graveyard Shift map, you're not only going to have to download the patch, but you're also going to have to go to the Origin store and install the custom map there. I'm putting a link in the video description. You can click that and that should help you on your way to playing the nighttime Savad. Now for some reason this map has been in development for a long time, something to do with shaders and just getting everything to look like it's actually nighttime and function in a way that's actually as dark as everybody wanted it to be. This is pretty much a community-inspired project. If people hadn't requested pure nighttime maps for a while now, they wouldn't have been working on it. So this is a lot darker than the ones you might have seen from Battlefield 3 and previous Battlefield games. It is pitch black in certain situations. Not pitch black across the whole map, thank God, because that would be pretty hard to navigate. And that is one of my gripes with the map right now, is that it's very tricky to navigate if you're not intimately familiar with the layout of Savad 311. And I'm pretty familiar with this map, but even so I keep getting stuck on boxes and various objects if I'm not using, say, night vision scopes or FLIR optics. Now I'll talk about the gameplay on Graveyard Shift a bit more towards the end of the video, but I want to talk about some of the other cool things introduced with the summer patch. Soldier animations have been updated. They should hopefully be a little bit less jerky. The side-to-side strafing movement speed has been reduced ever so slightly, so hopefully soldiers will just be less jittery in general, and I think we've all experienced that plenty. Now for those pilots out there, the jet flying mechanics have been reverted in many ways. Now the 313 speed is going to be your optimal turning speed in dogfights. So it's just changed things back to the way they were before. Also, they've reduced a lot of the glare that shows up on the jet cockpit when you're flying in certain maps. This was especially problematic in maps like Silk Road. I found it very hard to see around just because of the intense reflection. And for a little while now, the CTE has had the fail reload bug fixed, and that has been implemented in this summer patch. So finally, this bug that has been around for years and years and years will be gone in the vanilla version of Battlefield, and hopefully not show up in any future versions of Battlefield. This is great news, and I can't wait to stop talking about the fail reload bug. Now they've also added a team balancer to Battlefield 4, which should be on servers by default. I don't know how much of an effect it's having on the PC side of things, because I know they have a lot of their own team balancing code implemented already, or maybe they have it turned off. It's really hard to say. I've had a whole bunch of games already that have been balanced, and I've had a whole bunch of games that have been imbalanced, so it's hard to say if it's working or not, or if I'm even playing on servers where it's implemented. It's really hard to tell. I'll just have to keep you updated on that. Now there's been a whole lot of netcode improvements with this patch, which is great. And the first thing on the list is just better handling of packet loss. They've also added in better handling of rubber banding, so hopefully just kind of moving around, glitching about the server, you'll see a little bit less of that, a little bit less wonky movement from other players. They've also fixed a health display bug where it showed your character having full health or the incorrect amount of health according to what the actual server had, and this could lead to situations that made it look like you're getting one-shotted when you're at full health, but in fact your character did not have full health. So hopefully we won't have to run into this issue anymore. Now every now and then you might notice a little icon that appears on the right side of your screen that indicates packet loss, which is basically just an issue with your connection to the server, and that can create issues for you online while playing. They've actually updated these icons now to show you a lot more information. So if you're having weird stuff going on in-game and there's a bunch of symbols coming up on the right side of your screen, this little graphic here will kind of give you an idea of what might be happening. And if you look at the symbols and still don't really understand what's going on, well, you at least have a little bit more information that you can hopefully relay to the developers, and maybe they can help you figure out what's wrong with your connection or your performance in Battlefield. Now you may be aware of an issue that's been nicknamed dusting that's existed in Battlefield for a long time, and it occurs when you shoot a round that explodes on impact, and you'll shoot it at, say, a helicopter or a tank or some sort of vehicle. As it's moving past you quickly, the shell hits the vehicle, explodes, but you don't actually get a hit marker or do any damage to the vehicle. So on your screen you're like, what gives? I just shot the vehicle. It even shows that I shot the vehicle, but nothing actually connected. Well, they've tried to fix that in this patch, but apparently they've run into some issues and it's still occurring a lot. So They've tried to fix it. They thought they fixed it. Doesn't look like it might be fixed. Maybe it's improved. I'm not really sure, but there's just been reports of a lot of people still witnessing dusting. Now, they've also enabled audio obstruction as a new audio feature in the game, which is a kind of cool thing in concept. I don't know how much I've witnessed it in game because it's hard to tell. There's so many sound effects going on while you're fighting, but the idea behind this is that objects now obstruct the sound as it moves through the air. So if there's a giant concrete wall between you and another person and you're shooting your weapons, that audio should be obstructed in some way to kind of muffle the sound effect and hopefully give you better positional audio information. Now, they've also done a lot of work on vehicle turrets and tried to basically normalize the sensitivity and give you better sensitivity control. I haven't played around with this too much. I've heard from some people that it's not as good as they'd like it to be. Other people are saying it's actually a lot worse than it was before. I haven't noticed anything huge, but then again, I haven't tested it extensively with vehicles. We'll have to see how that pans out in the long run. The tracer effect has been reduced greatly, which I'm a big fan of. I hated how that effect looked when you were shooting machine guns. It's a lot easier to aim machine guns and weapons that just had heavy tracer effect. Flashbangs have basically been fixed, so they're not crazy overpowered anymore, which thank God for that. Revolvers have oddly seen a bit of a nerf, along with slug shots and the Desert Eagle, which kind of sucks. They've had their headshot damage multiplier reduced a bit, and I find this a little bit unfortunate. I think it's in an attempt to make the Mare's Leg a little bit better than, say, the 44 Magnum. I wish they had just made the Mare's Leg better and left the Magnums and handguns where they were, because they're still pretty difficult weapons to use, and it feels good when you get that one-shot headshot. Now, they've made a few changes to the way the game functions on the nighttime version of Zavad 311. Spotting has been reduced to a 200-meter maximum, which I think they should have just turned it off. It doesn't make a lot of sense on a nighttime map. Soldier skins also still kind of glow a little bit, so it's still pretty easy to see soldiers, which I don't know if that defeats the purpose of a nighttime map. It's pretty campy as is right now. I think it's greatly empowered the use of FLIR optics. It's made suppressors almost necessary, and it's also made tanks a lot better. I'm not really crazy about how the night map is balanced. It looks very cool. It can be frustrating in certain areas because of how dark it is. It feels a little bit silly not having night vision goggles as an optional attachment in this game. That would be a cool way to balance things out. And I also think it would be neat to have a part of the map that was actually lit up, like the buildings in the center of the map or a base or something. Just have a lot more lights on it, so you would have to transition between night vision goggles, or your FLIR and infrared night vision optics wouldn't work as well in the light places, and that would kind of offer a bit of transitional gameplay rather than just giving people with FLIR optics a huge advantage in general. That being said, I could play pretty decently without using the FLIR optics, but when I used the FLIR optic, a suppressed DMR, it just seemed unfair. Maybe it makes a lot more sense to play this map on the hardcore game mode, as I think things would probably be balanced a little bit better. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Check out the new summer patch. I think the game overall has seen a huge step up, but there's still a lot of things that I would like to see addressed in Battlefield 4. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.